Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to meet you all here, and it's quite a gang. And I guess there are some things that haven't been discussed yet about cybersecurity and AI, so we will try to keep it interesting. And I want to invite my panel to join me here on the stage with a round of applause, of course, please. Okay. So I understand that this time after lunch is a little bit, we call it in Spain siesta. But once again, we try to keep you awake and to make it smooth. Some rules here, like we will be here having our chat. I don't want to call it panel discussion. It's better to have a friendly conversation, right? But if you feel to ask the question, just please raise your hand and maybe we can go into some specifics, right? All right, so I want to start with like some basic fact and say that about a year ago, the launch of ChatGPT made headlines worldwide. I think like also this was already discussed, but I want to start with a question: why now? How we came to this point? Anyone want to start?
I'll take a step at it. Well, I think it has been in the works for a while, right? For the people who have been paying attention, we've seen the developments along the way around, the rise of deep learning models, and then the BERT model that came out around 2017, and then, the famous pay attention paper by Google. So people who have been paying attention knew about the developments and knew that something is going to happen. I think what made it get the attention is really the adoption by the public, right? Mm-hmm. The number of people who were so excited by the technology made it gain popularity. And sometimes, businesses follow. We've seen that with social networks before, exactly. Right? So sometimes technology, basically, businesses only follow when the wider public pays attention.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, and if I may, it's like AI is an old lady. We have AI algorithms since 60, 70 years ago. So when we are teaching, we are not exactly teaching everything very new, very recent. Mm-hmm. So how come an old lady come into the cyber scene and make it different? Of course, it's like we heard, it's a general use of AI these days. Mm-hmm. I think most of the business people are also realizing the advantages it can have. Mm-hmm. And I think that people like me that work from the research point of view and also from the academia point of view, we realize that these two domains need to be together. These two domains need to be thought together. People should be educated with these two domains as some strong skills for any kind of professional.
Yeah. I also, if I can, so just to complement, so we used to talk a lot about the winter of AI. I think now the winter is over.
It's the summer.
Now it's the summer of AI, and I also see a lot of analogies. So you can see from my title, I am also responsible for cloud. So cloud for me 10 years ago was a convergence of technologies that allow us to have the cloud. Now we have a new convergence of technologies that allow us to say, okay, the winter of AI is over. Something that me personally speaking, we were not expecting to happen so fast was what we call the ChatGPT effect. Right. Because this came, I think, faster than expected. And I was reading an article yesterday, a couple of days ago from the IEEE, that they say, okay, we are getting very close to the notion of general AI. I think superintelligence is still far away, but now people are saying this is coming faster than all of us expected. So.
Yeah, right. I'm sorry because I got so nervous like getting up on the stage and I didn't even give you a moment to introduce yourself. So please, can you introduce yourself one after another because like we missed this part. Malek?
Sure. So my name is Malek Ben Salem. I work for Accenture. I'm a managing director focused on emerging tech security. So that covers quantum security, space security, and of course, AI security, including Gen AI. I'm based in Washington, D.C., and yes, most of my work is at the nexus of AI and security and privacy.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Roger. I'm doing cybersecurity at Merck within the domain of OT, and I like to dig into the offense and defense research, especially also now in the AI.
Right.
Yeah. Jesus Luna, cybersecurity governance for cloud and artificial intelligence at Robert Bosch GmbH, also in Germany. And main responsibility at the moment is the AI Act and certification. So more than enough.
Yeah.
Hello, I am Isabel Praça. I come from Porto in Portugal. I'm a professor and a researcher on AI and on cybersecurity. So we use AI for enhanced cyber solutions, and we work on the security of AI. I do research with international projects, with companies that are very welcome to bridge this gap between research and academia and the needs for real solutions for business.
Thank you so much, and sorry again. I'm going to ask one more, let's say, generic question, and then we slightly move to cybersecurity side, okay? For now, how you see the situation? How is AI basically impacting the workforce in general? And how should individuals and organizations adapt to these changes?
Like I said, I think one of the steps is to have AI in all the curriculums. Also, I believe AI and cyber, like we have to learn maths and etc. I think it's essential to have basic notions and also to bring some skills on the intersection of these two different domains.
All right.
So people need to know how to deal with AI, especially in the cyberspace. So in future, when we think about future cybersecurity professionals, there will be a lot of impact on AI. If I look at a security operations center, I mean, the AI will do the job identifying incidences, and the SOC engineer, the SOC analyst, they will just guide the AI whether this is a very interesting incident or not. And we will see that there is also a reducement of the levels in the SOC operations to say, okay, we will reduce the first level completely, maybe by automation. And then the next step will be the second level.
But how do you actually see this? How do we strike a balance between automation and human oversight?
I mean, what we need is to have this educational path already also for students to say, hey, you need to dig into that area to ensure that you will have a secured and safe future in the job environment.
Okay.
Yeah, what I will say is I think in many fields there will be huge opportunities brought up by Gen AI specifically. So in creative fields, you know, we can see that Gen AI models can help the creative people produce more work. Obviously, there will be questions about IP and who has copyright, etc. But I think there are huge opportunities. Yeah. In you know, in fields where, so in businesses, for instance, Accenture has actually released this report where we estimated that 40% of tasks will be taken over by generative AI, and that research basically came about based on some estimates about where we use language, natural language, in our work environments, and about 2/3 of the tasks we do are about communicating, right? And then 2/3 of those tasks can be automated by Gen AI. So if you take 2/3 times 2/3, it comes about to 40% of tasks that can be completely taken over by AI. Now, what that means doesn't mean that we're going to see, you know, 40% of people lose their jobs, but the nature of the tasks that people will be doing in the future will invariably have to change, and we need to adapt to this
That's right.
wave of Gen AI.
That's right. Coming to cybersecurity part, like let's go a little bit deeper. Like right now, we have such huge problem, like trendy things like ransomware, I don't know, nation state attacks, etc. So help me out, like what, like
Denial of service,
yes,
phishing, smishing.
exactly. Yeah. So we have a lot. We have a lot. So with all these mentioned above, how has the use of Gen AI changed the way we deal with cybersecurity compared to traditional methods we've basically used before?
I can elaborate a little on that.
Okay.
So we are seeing, and also related to the previous question, I read also somewhere that someone was asking in the field of e-health. Says, okay, is AI going to substitute the traditional physician? And they say no, but a physician that knows how to use AI will have an advantage related to a physician that doesn't know how to use AI. And now this is something that also we are seeing on the industry. Our CERT teams, our traditional SOC teams, the people that is doing the traditional CM, security monitoring, etc., now they are getting use of the so-called copilots. So they are getting support from generative AI or from several AI tools. And we are actually seeing that, and going to the title of the panel, the arms race. So we are trying to make, again, a balance between what the bad guys are able to do and what we are also able to do. Because the same tools that we are using are the same tools that also the other guys are using to create more sophisticated attacks, which we are already seeing. So I think definitely it's going to give us, if not an advantage, at least it's going to, again, help us to balance the situation.
And I would also challenge this to say it will not be the same tools we use to defend, because the offense of the cyber attackers will be much more advanced, as I will say, because they are already developing AI environments, large language models that can be used to attack companies, to attack the businesses, right?
Can you give some examples of such sophisticated attacks?
For example, if you take the Warm GPT or the Freedom GPT, these are large language models that can be used by cyber criminals, by script kiddies in the basement with the black hoodie on, and they do not need to know how to attack. They just need to know how to prompt in a right way.
Right.
And the large language model will do the attack. And this is where I say a script kiddie in future will not know how to decompile an executable. It just will say, please decompile the executable, find the vulnerability, and write me an exploit code.
Right. Right. But what makes, maybe, look, you just have like some different opinions on that, or you have maybe some examples as well. What basically makes these attacks particularly challenging to defend against? Any specifics you can think of?
Well, I think, so first of all, we're going to see a huge volume of attacks, right? Because the technology now is available to everybody. And if we think about the phishing example, for instance, you know, a lot of the models we're using for email security to detect, you know, phishing attacks, you know, have been adapted to, you know, the patterns that we've seen previously. Like, you know, you look for or even the training awareness courses that we offer to our employees. You know, we tell them, look for things like spelling errors in an email, et cetera, to detect that. So the techniques we're using now, even they might be anomaly detection based for a you know, phishing detection, are relying on certain patterns that we've seen in the past. Now, in the future, we're probably not going to see the same patterns anymore, because now people are not going to make those same spelling mistakes, because even though I know some people argue, no, they do it for a reason, but my point is, I don't think so. They do it for, I think, they do it for screening reasons, but I don't think so. I think we'll see, you know, very well-crafted phishing emails, and therefore, as defenders, we have to uplift or improve our detection capabilities.
Right.
So we have to adapt. We have to be ready for the volume as well. That's what I'll just throw out there.
Yeah, right.
Also, what can be very challenging is the way generative AI can bring the context to the type of attack. Like phishing is an example. If you get the right email in the wrong context, maybe you will detect it's a phishing attack. But if you get the right email in the right context, if the context is according to your life, to your movements, to your experience, then it will be much more difficult to filter and to do the anomaly detection if the context is according. Right. And generative AI can be very useful to bring the context to that type of attacks. Yeah.
Do we have any real examples of attacks right now, like you can think of? Like what happened recently, maybe?
I mean, maybe not a real one, but this is just evolving and developed. Who in the audience is familiar with war dialing? Who knows the old attack technique of war dialing? Okay. In this kind of technology or attack vector, we used a phone line to call phone numbers to identify whether there is a computer system behind or a human being. So for social engineering, you recorded on the software, on the war dialing software, the voice of the people who answer. So if Jesus would answer, I'm Jesus, hello, we just hang up. And then later on, the attacker analyzed who's been there. And of course, try to socially engineer the colleagues of Jesus to identify or to try to steal data. Nowadays, this will be completely automated, right? So if I would like to attack Bosch with more than 400,000 employees, it will take me 1,300 plus days to do such a kind of an attack just to war dial. With the AI, I can just simply automate that, and I can even record the voice and do a voice synthesization where the attacked person via social engineering will not recognize that. And where I will see that AI is kicking in, because you can always trick humans, is the same as if you are calling a call center. At a call center, for your telecom contract or whatever you would like to call, they constantly monitor whether you are in a good mood or bad mood based on the tone of your voice. Yeah, and you do not need to consent on that because that's a given. And we also will see that AI will be used to defend such social engineering techniques by synthesized computer voices, because a person, a human being, will not be able to identify whether this is a computer or not.
Right. And this brings the next question, that on the flip side, how can organizations basically and businesses leverage Gen AI and machine learning to enhance their cybersecurity posture? What can be done here?
Wow, a lot can be done. We can bring some use cases, I guess.
Yes, please.
Some use cases that I can think about, for example, to generate rules for SOC operators, to analyze and to propose remediation paths, and to even to test the rules that are generated by generative AI.
What are the key benefits and challenges in adopting these technologies for the organizations?
I think there's something we should not forget. That is, AI is based on an IT or OT infrastructure. So we cannot forget that all that pillars should be also secure. The challenge is how can we consider in our usual strategies, even for risk management and risk assessment, how can we consider the traditional security pillar and bring the AI onto it? And I think I'm going back to a previous question you did about attacks done by AI.
Yeah.
I was looking in the MITRE adversarial threat landscape for AI, the MITRE Atlas, to check if there was some AI incident reported already. I could not find very concrete examples. I could find there some neural networks vulnerability disclosure. But my point is how easy is it to distinguish between an attack that was done just by the AI or by all the infrastructure where AI is based on?
Yeah. Also, I think, please.
Thank you. So the way I think about it is in a three-pronged approach, right? Is number one, if attackers are using Gen AI, how do you evolve your defenses to counter those attacks, right? So, in the case of email security, think about what you can do there. In the case, if you're using voice-based authentication, for instance, that's no longer secure, make sure you use some other, complement it or get rid of it completely. So that's one thing you have to think about. The next thing you have to think about is how can I use, as an organization, how can I use Gen AI myself to augment my security professionals so that they can respond to the new attacks, to the volume of new attacks. And there, in the SOC analyst, you can use Gen AI, the SOC, you can help augment your SOC analysts with Gen AI-based tools. You can think about equipping your security analysts or application developers with tools that can help them write secure code from the beginning. You can help your cloud security architects with some tools that can help them provision infrastructure that is secured by design, right? That is continuously compliant to certain policies, to regulations, etc. And then third, if you yourself, as an organization, are adopting Gen AI, then make sure you're adopting it securely. Think about, deploying safety guardrails as you're deploying Gen AI. Think about the entire end-to-end life cycle of the Gen AI-powered application. Think about, third-party risk. So, all the good practices that you would deploy for deploying any other technology, those are even more important when you're deploying a Gen AI-powered application, because you're relying on foundation models that are developed by third parties that you may not have control of.
Yeah, I think the way that I see, there are always these three legs that are playing. So you have AI for cybersecurity, so try to reach for the low-hanging fruits. So everything that has to do with, for example, summarization. GPT can do very well summarization of vulnerability disclosures. You can try to go also for CTI. Cyber threat intelligence is also a low-hanging fruit for LLMs. Then once that you start working on that, you will realize that you need also to put some cybersecurity on the AI that you are using. Because then you have to decide, okay, what do I need? Because it's usually in particular related with cyber incidents, CM, etc. Is something where I will trust on a model that is based on a public cloud that is publicly hosted, or do I want to use my own model that is on-premise hosted? So now we are seeing again, as a deja vu from the cloud, public models versus private models. So in which direction should I go? And once that we start thinking on that, also we think on the third leg, which is the adversarial AI. So we worry a lot about guardrails, about the Artificial Intelligence Act, trustworthiness, because we are the good girls and the good guys.
Yeah.
The bad guys, they don't care.
Exactly.
So that this balances the equation a lot.
Yeah, and there's a balance on how can we prevent the good guys to use as much as possible the same tools as the bad guys do.
Yep.
Right.
That's
Jesus, actually, you tipped one question I wanted to ask you about threat intelligence, because it's also like the topic, like we always talk about threat intelligence a lot, how AI can help us to also evolve in this particular topic with threat intelligence, how it can be helpful.
Summarization. I see it as summarization because every time that we talk with our peers, the topic of is like when we were kids and we were exchanging from the superheroes, the little stamps, say, okay, how many do you have? I have 10 different sources of threat intelligence. I have 100. That means how many analysts do you need in order to consume all of this information?
Right.
With LLMs, can be done like this. So this that's why I say it's a low-hanging fruit, summarization of information that is coming from the threat intelligence source, putting on the pipeline. So these are things that we will start seeing more and more solutions in that direction.
Awesome.
And you can take it even a step further. Besides summarization, you can contextualize that threat to your own organization's network to see if it applies to you or not. So that would be another step of taking it.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we don't have that much time, so I will try to move our discussion a little bit to talk about the future, let's say. How you see the industry, how you see both topics, cybersecurity and AI, in 2, 3, let's say 5 years from now on. How it's going to work.
Well, I think we'll see more involvement of cybersecurity professionals in the adoption of this Gen AI technology. I think we're past the hype phase where everybody was excited to experiment with the technology, and now people are coming to the realization that this technology comes with its own risks, and we need to think about how to protect it and to use it in a secure manner. So I'm excited about us as cybersecurity professionals getting more involved in helping people adopt the technology more securely. In terms of how it's going to look like in 5 years, it's hard to predict, but I think we'll see more usage of it. A lot of my clients specifically are experimented, and I think we'll see it basically deployed, more broadly, definitely in 5 years.
Right. What kind of developments or trends you think will be applicable in generative AI, and what you foresee the most significant impact on cybersecurity in the coming years? So how you see it?
So I think we need to change our trust model in future, because we can't trust anymore everything that we were based on in the past. The voice, the text, the pictures, so this all will gone. I will see a tremendous change into the passwordless solutions. So passwords will hopefully disappear, that we will have some kind of biometrical authentication. This is something that I will see. I would also like to predict that in future, as the world will be in somehow of a competition, and if we see business will try to get, or nation states will try to get the intellectual property of other businesses, the internet will become some kind of a battlefield. And if nation states will develop their own large language models,
Right.
there will be somehow of a trend to say, we will say, how can we use AI to protect ourselves, right? So it will be at the same level as right now, but more advanced in automation. And for example, let's take the way how we communicate. We humans are, so to say, not good in communication when it comes to exchange information. But if machines are talking to each other, they will be much more faster in doing that, which also means that the attacks and the incidents we will see will much more and more.
Yeah, and this is a good question, by the way. Like, will we communicate in 10 years how we're talking right now, like face to face? This is a big question too, you know? So in conclusion, maybe you have any kind of advice and what it will be to give to individuals and organizations looking to navigate the evolving landscape of cybersecurity in the age of generative AI?
If I may, I'm not sure if I'm answering your question, but I would like to raise that I hope that in the coming years we can work on the trust of AI. Important for sure for cybersecurity, but also important in other domains. And by working into the trust on AI, we should not just think about the results we expect, like we want, and I see that from my researchers, we want to have the best technique to reach the best accuracy with the less computational time, but to trust AI, we need a multidisciplinary approach. We need to understand AI. We need to bring professionals and people from the ethics, so we need AI to be accountable, ethical, fair, explainable, and etc. This is a challenge. And I believe that it's not just about security of AI, it's about trust on AI.
Yeah. There is a lot of work to do, huh?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Something. Oops,
No,
sorry
no, go
again.
ahead, please.
No, just very quick, because something that I will have on my wish list is actually the notion right now, the foundational models, so what we can get out there, they are foundational, they are very general. Something that we would like to see in the future are more fine-tuned models that are more trained for cybersecurity.
Right.
There is a small problem with that. That is that we are going to end up with the environment because they consume a lot of energy to train a model. So hopefully we can start agreeing with the industry and with the providers to start unifying, also was mentioned in the keynote this morning, in order to have unified models so that we don't destroy that fast environment. So we will see.
Yeah. Along those lines, actually, the other aspect is to even, not just for the cybersecurity models, but for the large language models, can we provide alternatives that are much more smaller, that can run on endpoint devices? And the reason for that is that it preserves privacy, right? So the risk of, losing or leaking sensitive information is lower. You asked about advice. So what I ask, or what I'll challenge organizations adopting Gen AI or excited about Gen AI to think about is to reconsider, do you really need Gen AI for your use case, or would traditional AI do the job, right? I see a lot of excitement about adopting Gen AI for use cases that do not really require generative AI. So think about that, because it comes with its own risks, right? Hallucinations, etc. So if traditional AI can do the job, go with traditional AI. If you decide that Gen AI is the right answer for your use case, then design it in a responsible manner. Certainly involve your cybersecurity people to ensure that data is not leaked, to ensure that whatever you're building is not exploitable, etc. And then my call, for the technology organizations is to come up with ways where we can watermark generated or AI-generated content so that we can reduce a lot of the risks from disinformation campaigns and the use of deep fakes, etc. That's going to be a research challenge, but I think it needs the cooperation of everybody working in the technology sector, and maybe not even in the technology sector, in the regulatory or policy folks to get involved with that.
Right. Okay. Roger?
Yeah, just to repeat what was already said in the opening keynote this morning, with great power comes great responsibility, quoting Uncle Ben from Spider-Man also. Yeah. Those who develop large language models use it wise and use them with a good behavior.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we have like 30 seconds for one question maybe. So anyone would like to ask our panelists?
There is one.
Here in the front.
Thank you. So, hello, my name is Mars Jamal. I'm a data scientist at the Swedish NAO. So before I came here, I was in another lesson which talked about quantum machine learning. Mm-hmm. And basically the professor said if there was quantum computers right now, everybody's bank account would be erased because the RSA algorithm would be solved. So basically what it feels like is that there is a nuclear bomb being developed right now. So I'm just wondering, how do you see that threat, and how can we protect us from that in the future?
Mm.
So, go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, we call that, and this is not I'm that saying that, but the Oppenheimer moment. So we just released and opened Pandora's box, and the question is how to use that and how to control that. I mean, the Moore's law predicted that round about 2025, the development of microchips will be ended as the way we produce them. So quantum computing will kick in. We've seen how the GPT language models are evolving over the last couple of months from a 3-year-old to a 9-year-old with reflecting based on the memorization the large language models are doing. So there will be a tremendous change in the way how these models will evolve, and also the power that can be used by that. And just to focus on that, some years ago in China, they developed their own microprocessor, which was the fastest one on the world, right? And some kind of export controls kicked in. And this is the reason why I just said, if there is a nation state who develops the first working, completely super intelligent model, the first one who's developing that will somehow rule the world. So this would be the scenario, if you really would look at it from a bad statement.
Well, what I'll add is, yes, the quantum threat is real, a threat to cybersecurity or to cryptography. We have two ways of responding to it. One is computationally through new cryptographic algorithms that replace the RSA-based algorithms for encryption. NIST has been doing some work there, and they're gonna, they actually did select the new algorithms to be adopted, and they're drafting the new protocols. That's one way. The other approach is to use the quantum technology itself as a way to exchange keys that can be used for encryption, and that's called quantum key distribution. So I think we have our way forward there, and I'm optimistic.
Yeah. Anyone else? Please, questions. No siesta time after lunch. Nope. All right, then I think I want to thank you all for joining me for this panel to answer all my questions. I can say that I'm also learning here a lot. And thank you very much. And I think we need to go with a round of applause to you all, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.